once again to the UnLearnT podcast. I am your host, Ruth Abigail, aka RA, and this is the podcast that is helping you gain the courage to change your mind so that you can experience more freedom. And we are in a series that is talking all about unlearning Generation Z. If you have been paying attention lately, or for the last few years, there's a lot of mixed feelings about this generation. And we want to talk about it. We want to talk about people who are passionate about the younger generation, who work with them in different capacities, and who have been doing it for a while. Because we always have to be concerned about the next generation. So and I think there are things as adults that we have to learn as leaders that we have to unlearn about this generation. And that's what we want to do. And so I have today my brother, Pastor, Reverend, Bishop, Deon. Look, I was about to say Deion Sanders. That's crazy.
I heard it coming out. I ain't prime time.
No, we ain't got prime time. Not yet.
Not yet.
But this is Mr. Deon Byers of Divine Life and Repair the Breach Ministries in Memphis, Tennessee. What's up, Deon?
What's going on, RA? I'm excited about being on the show. I love talking about youth and young adults, especially this generation. So yeah, I'm just excited to get into it.
Man, I'm excited you're here, y'all. Me and Deon, we went through a very intense leadership program together. And,
yes, Lord.
And then we came out on the other side, but it was really all about how do we love this generation well. And so Deon has been doing this for a long time. Deon, how long have you been working with young adults or teens and young adults?
I've been working with teenagers, I would say, all my life, but I've been working with them for 10 years.
10 years. So they say, I guess 10 years, that makes you an expert. You put your 10,000 hours in really in about 5 years. So you there, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you've been working with it 10 years, and kind of give a little bit of the background. Like, how did you get to be working with teenagers?
Well, I started going through leadership development called Repairing the Breach. I went through Repairing the Breach as a teenager myself, and so I ended up going to Bible college, came back, and started working with Repairing the Breaches as a full-time middle school coordinator, and got to deal with them. And I always call it thriving in the trenches, because when you work with young people and young adults, that's what it is. It's trenches. And so I started doing it, and I fell in love with it. Just seeing young people that was like myself, it reminded me of how somebody helped me out. So how somebody showed me a different path, showed me a different way, how I can live my life, how I can be successful, and how I also can make an impact and leave a legacy. And so I want to do the same thing for the next generation.
So most people listening did not make the decision to work with teenagers.
Right? Oh, absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? Which is probably wise. And, those of us that are crazy enough to say yes to that, we do it a lot of times because of an experience we had. And you just kind of named that you were impacted by Repair the Breach Ministries yourself. But I would dare to say it wasn't the ministry, like programmatically. I'm gonna make the assumption there's probably a people, right? The person.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Talk to me about that. Like, talk to me about your story about developing that relationship with a person, an adult who's older than you, and how that really impacted you.
Yeah, my pastor now, he's my pastor today, but he was Coach Wade back then. He impacted my life tremendously. I mean, just doing life with me, being there with, listening. There were times where we would just play ball and do different things that I wanted to do, and he would use that to gain trust. And I began to trust him. I began to go with him some other things that was going on with my life. And he began to show me, number one, Jesus, but then he also showed me how to conduct myself as a young man, how to be a leader amongst my peers, and how to serve and how to be faithful, and just show me different things all around holistically. It wasn't just one thing that he showed me. And then also, just like how we went through divorce, it was a group of teenagers that was my friends. We went through Repairing the Breach. Yeah. And so he was the one that stayed on us. He was the one that challenged us to be better than what our environment said we could be. He was the one that introduced us to different corporate settings, took us out of town, showed us a world outside of the world that we were used to. And so he played a tremendous part in my life, and I model a lot of what I do from what he taught me. A lot of things that he instilled in me, I now put it in the next generation. And so we're making a lot of impact with those kids. But he tremendously impacted my life. He's the one that kind of like, hey, you can do this, you can be a leader, and pretty much gave me hope that I didn't have in myself, confidence that I didn't have in myself. And I began to see myself differently, that, okay, well, people will listen when you
Yeah.
begin to follow and be an example to what you're talking about and what you represent. And so he played a huge part in my life. And even to this day, still plays a huge part in
Yeah.
my life, in my development, even what I'm doing with repairing the breach, what I'm doing on the pastoral side, and as a father, as a husband now, he plays a huge role. So their relationship continues to this day.
So I think I love that. And I definitely have stories, and you know, there's real data on the impact that caring adults have on the lives of teenagers. Like
Oh, absolutely.
that's kind of empirical, and we know that that makes a difference.
Mhm.
What I think what's interesting about today is we live in a very different world than when you and I grew up, right?
Absolutely.
And I think what I hear from a lot of people our age or older is there's a assumption or perception that, you know, and I'm just gonna say it the way I kind of hear it, these kids different.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they all different now.
These kids different. And I do think that's true. I think every generation is unique, but also, I don't know, what do you think? I also tend to think that there's a lot of similarities, right? Just in being young,
It
right? Like,
is.
young people are just, and when you're that age, you're just young. And I think what is something that is important to unlearn about this generation is that while they are different, they're not so different than we were when we were kids. Just because kids, that age, right? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, there's similarities throughout generations, and the perception of older generation to younger generation, some of that is just, it's just a pattern. It just always happens. So we
Yep.
need not be alarmed by it. What do you think about that? Like, would you, what would you agree with that? Like,
Yeah, like I think they're definitely different than what we was for sure.
they're
But
different.
it's similarities because it's the same environment.
Mm,
But I think too, this generation, I think a lot of them have been sacrificed on the altar of success,
mm,
that they get left behind because we trying to provide, we trying to work so they can have things, that we stop teaching them the values and morals and principles.
mm,
And so when you're dealing with teenagers or you're dealing with kids that have that mindset, a lot of them want to be loved. A lot of them want to be reached. A lot of them want to be heard. And I think sometimes with our generation, because they look so rough, they look so tough, or they doing so many different things, that we want nothing to do with them. So we just cast them to the side. And
mm,
if you get it, you get it. You don't, you don't. But what I come to realize is that if you really spend time with them, they'll get exactly what you want them to get. It's really about spending that quality time with them and really pouring into them, being intentional. And I like to say, earning the right to be heard.
yeah.
Because a lot of time we think because we older, you just supposed to listen. Well, it don't work like that. It never worked like that in
It
no
never worked
generation.
like that.
You
Nah,
know what I'm saying? So,
no.
but you gotta earn the right. And earn the right might be I might can't fix the problem right now. I just
Mm,
gotta gain trust.
yeah,
Loving them, being there for them. Because one thing I do know, when a kid know when you real and when you fake.
for sure.
So they know when you ain't doing, when you doing it just for the money, and when you really care about them. They know the difference, just like we did when we was young. We knew the difference for those that want to use us for money than those that really care about our life. And those that care about your life, you tend to lean to them a little bit more and listen to what
Mm,
they're saying a little bit closer. So I definitely think it's different because it's more aggressive, it's more rage and anger and rebellion with this generation. But I also think they have the same heart to want to do right.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? They just need a model. They need somebody to believe in them the same way we did.
Yeah, and I want to get to the difference, and I want to get to the rage and the rebellion and the anger. I think those are very key words. I want to get to that. Before we do, um, talk to me about sacrifice on the altar of success. Unpack that a little bit more. What do you mean by that?
Well, just think about, you have people that make a lot of money, but they don't spend no time with their kids.
Yeah.
So the kids left to themselves, and you think, I can put an iPad in your hand, I can put a phone in your hand, I can put new clothes in your hand, and that's gonna make up for the time that God designed for family.
Mm,
God designed for a father to give instruction to his children. He designed for a mother to nurture their kids. And so a lot of time they get put on the back burner because I'm working to try to provide for you. And now they left to themselves. So now they left to, well, do mama really love me? They don't tell me they
mm,
love me, but they give me everything I want. But I never heard them say that they're proud of me. I never heard them say that they want to come and watch and support me. it's always excuses why they can't be there for me, but they can be there for a job and make money. So they get sacrificed on the altar of success. And then the enemy, he's so cunning, he used that to bring in rejection and insecurities. And you got kids feeling lonely about themselves. They feel like nobody loves them, nobody care about them. So if nobody don't care about me, guess what? I'm just gonna buck the system. I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by sacrifice on the altar of success. Their kids don't get the nurturing and the love that they need, but instead they get thrown money or they get thrown material things to make time go past so you can get out my face so I can rest, so I can go back to providing for you.
And I think that's I think what I've seen a lot of adults, one of the reasons that we say that is because we think that they don't want to listen. Right.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to listen to me no way. So, you know, what's the like, and so it's almost like you put the blame, it's like you're pre-blaming them like before they even
Right.
and just putting it on young people like, well, they really don't even want to be around, you know, they want their own thing, they want to do their own thing. We're gonna let them do that because that's what they want. But most what I find, and I know you see it all the time, most adults don't actually talk with young people long enough to really understand them really understand what they really want for real.
They don't. And then they also don't even give themselves an opportunity to even know if they will listen to you.
Yes.
How would you know if you never put yourself in that situation to talk to them? Like, we go to so many different high schools, we do Ignite tours, and if you look across the board in our city, it's the same problem. Kids want to be heard. They just want somebody to listen, to understand them. But I always like to say this. It's one thing to listen and understand, but you got to be able to give them something.
Yeah.
If you have nothing to give them, then there's nothing you can say to the generation when you're not offering to give anything. So the biggest thing is, what do we have to give to impart into the next generation? And I think a lot of people look at themselves and say, well, I don't really have nothing. They ain't gonna listen to me no way. So they leave them to themselves, but you wonder why crime is bad and all of that. And then also we know majority of it is a sin problem. Because until the heart change, only Jesus can change the heart.
Yeah.
So without Christ, I mean, rebellion is in the heart of every child.
Yeah. It's in the heart of every person.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so without Christ, I always like to say we screwed anyway. But I just think about how I was introduced to Christ. It wasn't no bending across the head with the Bible, wasn't no it was relational. Everything was about relationship. Even Jesus, he had relationship with people. He hung around them. He didn't condemn them. Even with the woman who committed adultery, he didn't condemn her. He made all her accusers leave. And so the thing is, we got to begin to give these young people truth in and out of Jesus first, so their heart can begin to change. But we got to be relational with them. It can't just be do this to do that. No, it's got to be, I care about you. How can I help you? How can I serve you? What do you need? Okay, let me give you these resources. Let me give you this knowledge. Let me give you this wisdom. Let me make this connection. So it's got to be things that we able to give them if we don't want to see these things. We can't be mad about the issue and the problem, but we're not doing nothing to fix the problem.
So let's talk about a little bit of the problem. And you know, we're in Memphis. And so I know everybody listening isn't necessarily from Memphis, but we'll be talking about Memphis, and this is really can probably translate to most cities in America,
cities,
right? Yep. We know that you mentioned it earlier, crime is significant, particularly around with young adults, 14 to 25, I think, is kind of that gap. You know, we have low scores in education. Somebody told me as of, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, at Melrose, which is the school in Orange Mound, the graduation rate, the principal tripled it as of like tripled it, I think, this past year. Wow. And so, I was like, I didn't realize that the graduation rate was that low. You know, and that's just one school. You got instability in the educational system, which is impacting every single one of our young people. You have churches that are disconnected and are you know, not welcoming, right, for a lot of young people. So to your point, introduction to Christ, to God, to the kind of morals and values around the introduction to that is the barrier is a little higher than it probably should be. Particularly like within proximity of neighborhoods. You have all these different things that really are understandable reasons for anger and rebellion. And just saying, man, screw it. Like, nobody cares anyway. What's the point? And then you talk about a lot of all the teenagers now spent significant years through COVID. So they spent significant years in isolation. And some of the young adults did not have a typical high school experience. So you miss these very major moments in your life that you kind of wait for and look forward to. There's just a lot of that. And then the fear of the economy and, college seems impossible because of student loans and, all these different things that they're watching the older generations have to unravel that they don't really want to get into. And then at the same time, you have YouTube and all these different influencers where it seems like success is just right around the corner, right? All I gotta do is do this and then I could have what I want. You have all these different competing factors that are really converging, I think, into reasons that a lot of young people walk around either upset, depressed, anxious, rebellious, lost, confused, and we're just naming a few issues. These are not issues that we aren't aware of. We hear them all the time in society, but most adults, most people ignore it or complain about it. And bash the generation, right? Bash young people, don't know how to deal with it. Even if you're parents, right? Let's be honest. So how do you help? How would you help older adults who don't normally work with young people to even make sense of how do I even begin to engage, let alone build trust with someone who has that young people who are going through all of that? I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you need to start with is what gifts do you have that you can give to the next generation? Because some of us have different resources, some of us have different talents, some of us have different abilities. Like one of the things that I love about with Apostle Wade, Coach Wade in the story that we've been talking about that he did with us, he showed us how to be entrepreneurs. So who don't want to make money? You know what I'm saying? But in making money, he taught us principles. He taught us about the value of our name. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't just chasing money. Your name is everything. Because you can make this money, but then you can lose that client forever. And now your money just ran out. But if your name is great, everybody going to come to you because your name is great. And so we learn different principles. So you need to begin to look, okay, what's some things that I have to offer this generation that they will be interested in? Well, we know everybody interested in making money. So if you got any wisdom or resource, if you're a carpenter, a welder, get some young men, begin to pour into them, begin to talk about how they can get into this field, and then begin to get them life skills, begin to get them different principles that they can apply to their everyday life, get them soft skills, spend an hour out the day with them, just pouring into them about life, getting to know where they are, see where they at, and how can I help you now that I got you. So the first thing I would like to say, Jesus said, if you follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. So the first thing is you need good bait. And your bait is your talent, your gift, your abilities. So that's the first thing. And then once you got them, what do you have to give them? Because let's be honest, everybody that talks to young people don't give them the good things.
That's right.
So it needs to be something good that you are giving them. Well, we know Jesus is always good. You know me, I'm going after the harvest. So I'm going to give them the Lord first. Because I believe we don't have a crime problem, we have a sin problem. If you get rid of sin, you get rid of crime because the heart has changed. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds easier to say it than done. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of layers you got to unpack because kids deal with so much trauma, so many mental issues. So it might be you have an answer, but you can't get to the answer right now because you got to go through all the layers of dealing with the person or dealing with the kid. And so it's really about being patient with them. Being patient with them, not trying to make them an overnight sensation, but really giving them tools that they can be better in their everyday life. Character development is a big thing. Integrity, being integral. Soft skills, just a simple how to shake a man's hand, how to look him in the eye, how to have confidence about yourself. I believe we have a lot of gifts, talents, and ability to give them. What I believe is we don't want to get our hands dirty. in dealing with the generation, because it's a messy business when you're dealing with people, and that's all ages. That ain't just kids.
That's
You
right.
deal with it though. That's all people.
That's
And
all
so you
people.
got to be willing to thrive in the trenches. And so that comes
Mm.
with a lot of responsibility, because you got to be able to model what you give them.
Yeah.
Because one thing this generation hate, they hate fake.
Come on, man.
So if you ain't real and you giving them fake, they ain't gonna follow you no more.
That's right.
And I wouldn't follow you across the street.
Yep.
So the thing is, you got to be able to model whatever you're giving them.
Mm.
So if you can't model excellence, or you can't model what it like to be a real man, a true man of God, you don't need to be touching nobody. You need to let somebody continue to pour into you.
Yeah.
And so you got to have something to give them, but you also got to have fruit that they can eat from your life. When they look at your life, they want to glean and be like, I want to be like such and such. I want to be like Pastor. I want to be like Coach Wade. I want to be like Ruth Abigail.
Yeah.
Because they see something in you that your life thrive, and it's helping my life be better because I'm next to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving them nuggets.
Yeah, no, that's good. Let me ask this. What do you think is unique? So we know there are issues. And we'll kind of dive back into that a little bit after where that comes from. But what do you think is unique about this generation? We talked about the different, like what, and particularly not necessarily negative things, but just even, positive things that are unique. What about them is like, this is something that really we need to.
Man, they're bold.
Yeah,
they bold, and when they believe for something, they'll run through a wall for it.
Yeah.
And so I just look at things like, you see kids going around carjacking, broad daylight, all that type of stuff. The boldness that they have is like, and out there we ain't doing that.
No.
We want that bold. So I believe the boldness that's in them, it just needs to be cultivated the right way.
That's right.
To where we can begin to put our hands on them and use that boldness for the glory of God, to make our city better, to change the next generation, so they don't have to come up and go through some of the things that this generation going through. But man, their boldness is another level. And I think, again, like I said, if it's cultivated the right way, if it's in the hands of the right people, they won't misuse it or use it for their own benefit. So you get some people that use kids for their own benefit.
Yeah.
It's got to be a genuine, pure heart, and when you're working with young people, because you don't want to do anything that would crush their kid, and now their trust is gone forever. And they won't trust another soul. Because that's the thing, when you break their trust, it's hard for me to trust people like you. It's hard for me to trust older people. I don't trust y'all. So you got to begin to find that unique thing that they have. I mean, I see the boldness that they got.
They are bold, man. It's almost, I don't even know the word, but they are bold. And I wonder though, if some of that is boldness and some of that is hopelessness. And what I mean is, like, sometimes when you carjacking in broad daylight, just not if you have a job. I mean, one of the things that a lot of people are experiencing with this generation is just, I'm just not gonna show up. Like, I'm just going, and it's like, what how is that? Or honestly, we're running summer programs, and and so we've had just sleep through the whole program. Like, they just gone. It's like, now you realize you getting paid for this, but you sleep, right? I do think there is a certain level of boldness there, but also it's like, I think the shadow side of that is hopelessness, in the sense of, like, it doesn't matter anyway, right? So whether or not I do this, even if it destroys my reputation or my life in some way, who cares? Because I don't even think I had one anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so, how does hopelessness play out in this generation that you see that might be a little different than previous generations?
Yeah, but I think it goes back to them not getting poured into. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hopelessness come from home. A lot of people hopelessness come from home, because if home is good and tight, you can function and make it in the world, because you got a support system. They're gonna love you, encourage you. tell you when you're wrong, but do it in love. I think a lot of that just come from because they don't have nobody to love them. And then for me, I have not gave up on this generation. I believe some of the greatest thing God gonna do is with these young people,
Yeah,
with this
I
generation.
agree. Oh, I
I
agree.
think they have some special that no other generation had. But
Yeah,
if we give up on them, we'll never unlock it. We'll never see it.
yeah,
Somebody got to be the one that's standing together, like, hey, listen, I'm passing the torch from my generation to yours, and be able to give them what they need. So I think a lot of hopelessness come from trauma, come from single parent household, a lot of things that God didn't design for us to go through. I think all that comes and plays a very part of that. So I believe that if we get people to really begin to see, okay, yeah, I see the hope in this, but how do I be a hope dealer for them? How
that's
do I
good.
give
Yeah.
them hope? I think a lot of times we focus so much on they hopeless, they ain't doing nothing. Okay, what's the solution
What's
for
the
it? Like,
solution?
when are we gonna start finding solutions to how to impact this generation? Because I truly believe that a lot of those kids that doing what they're doing don't want to do that. They just don't have another option. At least they think they don't have another option. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then when you get with them, you beat them over the head versus listening, understanding. Then, okay, how can I love and help them through this? Because everybody come with their own baggage. Everybody come from something. Everybody got to pass with something. So you got to be able to be relatable. You got to be able to be understanding, but you also got to be able to inject hope. Like, you got to give them a safe space to be able to get out their frustrations, to get out their issues. You might have a kid that come in your house with a gun that say, hey, man, I'm getting ready to do this, man. I just need somebody to talk to. What if you don't have the right words to say? Like, I just had a situation with that with a
Yeah.
kid.
Uh-huh.
And so my thing is we got to inject hope. And that hope, number one, it comes through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Without Jesus, it don't matter what you give them naturally. They still got the sin nature. So they're going to revert back to the nature that they know. So until we change the nature and the heart through Jesus Christ and give them hope, we're going to continue to see the same things. And that's number one, go back to our educational system.
Yeah.
Jesus got to get back into school. Like, it baffled me that principal called us to do clergy stuff, but they don't want us to be clergy. Like, what are you calling us for? You don't call substitution teacher in there and tell them not to teach. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to allow God back into your space. And once you do that, you give the opportunity of hope to be given to everybody, because I just a firm believer what changed my life was when I gave my life to Jesus.
Yeah.
I was still in my neighborhood. I was still in the environment. I still seen murders. I still seen this, but I began to have a different outlook of life.
Yeah.
Then I began to get the natural things to help me. Okay, how do I do a job resume? How do I conduct myself on an interview? I began to get the tools to begin to get the confidence to say, hey, I ain't got to live like that. I ain't got to be in the neighborhood selling dope. I ain't got to be in the neighborhood doing these things. But a lot of them don't even have the tools because we don't even want to give back to them. So giving them Jesus is the first and main part, but holistically, we got to equip them with tools for natural living to be able to say, hey, this is how you live. This is how you conduct yourself in these environments, in these rooms. And then taking them outside the environment. Sometimes we only know South Memphis. Sometimes we only know Orange Mound. Sometimes we only know North Memphis. It takes somebody to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take you outside your community and show you that it's something bigger than what you see every day. And that's what happened with me. I was able to go to New York. I was able to go to Washington, D.C. I was able to see these things, this possibility, this realm of possibility that, hey, man, I can do this. This is obtainable. And I believe we make the standard so high that kids feel like they can't obtain it. But the standard should always remain high, but it should be attainable where they can reach it. And I believe if we begin to give them those tools, we'll see how these young people change tremendously.
So I'll be honest, Dan, I'm about to put you on the spot. I didn't even know we were gonna go here.
Okay.
But something tells me that this would be really good. A church member of mine, we were just kind of chatting the other day, and he was very disheartened by some things he had seen out just I think on Beale Street. He said he hadn't been on Beale Street in a minute. He and his wife went out, and he was like, I don't want to deal with none of these folk. I don't want to deal with nobody that basically ain't in the church. And I say, hey man, like, man, you can't be like that, man. Like,
No, you can't.
but I felt him though. And I want to bring some validity to that feeling, because I think a lot of people, particularly those who are believers in Jesus, and that's really who we're talking to at this point.
Yep.
Feel that way, particularly around this generation. It's like, man, I don't even want, man, they going straight to hell. Like, I'm just going like that. That is the mentality. People really believe it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that can be done. They're doing all this stuff, but these are the same people that are in the church. These are the same people that post their post scriptures on social media. These are the same folk, and these same young people are seeing that, right? And so here's my question to you. As someone who believes in Jesus and who believes in young people, some people don't think that's possible. How do you even explain, especially when we're talking about young people, a lot of whom are very disconnected from church, more so than we were when we were kids, right? And I would love for you to take a minute and coach adults who have young people in their lives who don't know anything about Christ, who don't know anything about Jesus, don't know anything about church, are disconnected, to even start that conversation. How do I even engage a young person in a conversation about Christ? Now, this is assuming we've built trust, we have a relationship. This isn't, me giving you a track in the mall. I ain't talking about that. But somebody who is like, we know each other, like we have a relationship. I do not know how to cross that barrier. I don't know how to start that conversation. Help people with that.
Well, for me, I think it started with a simple question. Like, it's multiple questions you can ask. It really just depends on the situation. For me, the way I do it is, I always ask them, hey, man, you ever thought about what would happen if you die? Just to pique their interest to see, do you even believe in heaven? Do you believe in hell? And then begin to help them with some natural stories to bring spiritual points across them, if that makes sense. So for example, I give you one. I always tell kids all the time, have anybody ever taught you how to read? They're like, yeah, somebody taught me how to read. Have anybody taught you how to write? Somebody taught you how to write. I said, have anybody taught you how to lie? No, ain't nobody taught me how to lie. I said, well, how is it that you had to learn how to read, talk, write, but you didn't have to learn how to lie? How did you learn how to lie? Well, no, I guess it's just part of my nature. So now I get to talk to them about the difference between being born away from God and then getting born again. And why you need to be saved, because you're born with a sinful nature. You're born already disconnected from God. But the Bible talks about that Jesus came to save who was lost. All of us lost because we born into sin. And so, but Jesus didn't leave us in that state. He came and he died for us. He went to hell for us. And I just started with questions, with natural things, to bring spiritual points across. And now I can give you the gospel and help you meet Jesus versus me, my religion, me, my church, me, my theology. You get to meet him. You get to hear his scriptures. You get to hear what his word says, and you get to have an encounter with him. So I think it all goes back to us being able to relate to them, but also know how to navigate it, because everything ain't no preaching or sermon.
Right.
Something is just natural conversations. And then, like, I had it's some kids, they grew up in church, but they don't want to do with God.
Yep.
I'll ask them, how you and Jesus doing? Because I know you grew up in this. How y'all doing? Man, I don't do nothing with that stuff. Man, why not? What turned you off? Let me find out where you at and locate you. And now I know how to reach you.
Yeah.
But I think because a lot of people really don't know Jesus for themselves, they don't know how to minister to young people for real.
That's
so
real.
Now you're trying to go and you want to get sermons and you want to go through the book and all that. And there's nothing wrong with going through scripture, because I go through scriptures all the time.
Yeah.
But it needs to be relatable. They got to be able to understand, number one, what you're talking about.
Yep.
And it's got to connect with them. Ain't nobody if listen to no God that they can't connect with. You know what I'm saying?
So what is it like? What is it? Why is it that you hear for so many young people that they aren't interested in God?
Because they didn't see the bad model. A lot of people have seen churches being abusive, churches doing things wrong. But like I always tell kids, again, here go the natural to the spiritual. I said, Have you ever seen somebody spend fake money? Have you ever seen scammers? So are you gonna stop getting money or
Stop,
spending
right.
money because you saw fake money?
Yeah,
So
right.
you can't stop,
Mm,
can't throw out all of the church because you saw a bad model.
mm,
You got to find a good model.
mm.
And that's why it's important that when you're dealing with young people, that you're able to model it before them. That's why for me, I love to bring young people to my house. I love to go outside of the church and hang with them. I love being in the schools with them because you get to see me interact and you get to see me consistently be who I say I am
Mm.
without me even saying the word. And so, and it gains so many respect for the kids because they're like, man, you're a man of your word. Because if I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I ain't gonna say, oh man, this came up and making excuses. It's all about investing in the next generation.
Mm.
And your word is everything. I learned that as a teenager with Apostle Way. Your word is everything.
Yeah.
You say you're gonna do something, you gotta do it with these young people.
You better do
Once
it.
you break that trust, you no longer get that back. It's
Yeah.
harder to get that back.
Much harder.
And so, but in order to connect the dots, you gotta just know how to locate them. And you locate them through relationship and you locate them through questions.
I love that, man. You locate them through relationship, you locate them through questions. And by the way, that's not just when
And
it
we're
comes
not
to
policing them either.
No.
So we're not policing no kids.
That's it.
Because you don't want to be hovering over what you doing today.
No.
You doing this. We don't police any kid. We love them. We show them the right way. But they gonna make their mistakes. And you gotta think about it. A lot of teenagers, they experiment.
That's it.
A lot of them just experiment trying to see what they like. They don't even know their identity yet. They don't know what they like. And so they experiment. And the thing I always say to that is, you don't want to experiment too long because you might get entangled and you can't get out.
Mm.
See, certain experiments mess up things. It can mess up your life. So you don't want to experiment all the time. You need to do it the right way, but they got to know what their way is.
They got to know what it is. They got to be shown that.
Absolutely.
Right? Exactly.
And then too, make Jesus fun. Like, you can't be no old stuck up bishop, and the kids don't want none of that. They want to be able to do something that they can get with, that they can relate to, that they can have fun with. That's one thing I loved about Coach Apostle Wade when we was young. He made Jesus fun.
Yeah.
And we made it fun. And so now we just do the same thing with the next generation. We have silent parties. We do gaming stuff. We have so much fun that you're going to think you at the club.
Yeah.
But you are at the club. You at Club Crossover. You at Club Jesus. Because you going to cross over from sin to life. But we have fun, man. We enjoy a lot. We dance.
Yeah.
We ain't doing all the worldly stuff, but we do some line dances here and there. We do basketball, video games. We just enjoy our young people. We spend time with them. We open our doors with them. We understand the stuff that come with it. We know they're gonna come with weed. Some of them might come with gun. We understand what come with it, and we're willing to say, hey, listen, we going after these young people.
Yes.
So we know what come with it. We got a standard. We're gonna implement our standard, but we're not policing them. Like we ain't just, well, we had a situation where kids were coming with weed and type of stuff. No, we ain't kicking you out, but that gotta go.
Yeah.
That can't stay, but you more than welcome to stay.
Correct.
But that can't stay.
Yes.
So we gonna have a standard and we gonna love them. And then we intentional. Once we figure that out, we sticking somebody on, hey, we need you to get with that person. Begin to see what they like, see what they like doing. Go talk to them. And we always intentional about knowing them by name. You ain't just a number to us.
Man.
No, we care about you. And I think that's what a lot of young people, they just feel like we just a number. Y'all don't care about us. What's my name? And a lot of kids ask you that. You don't remember my name, do you? So I'm intentional. I work hard to try to remember names. And it's becoming harder and harder for me.
And that, and it, me too. It's hard. Especially the longer you do it, the more names you got to know.
Oh my goodness.
But you know what I will say though, that's actually one of the first tricks of the trade, if you will, that I was taught is whenever you meet a student, the next time you see them, call them by name.
Call them by name.
And because they're not going to believe you remember them. Because most people don't. Even their teachers. Like and so and they are always shocked. Like you remember my name? Do you remember?
And it means so much. It goes so far.
It goes so far.
Oh my goodness.
It goes so far. And it just goes to show how easily it is to feel forgotten.
Come on. Yep.
You know? And how just a name, it matters because it makes you unique. You're not like everybody else. You have a name. And so I think even if whatever the young people are in your life, like call them by name. And even people who don't work with young people, maybe you only have a few that you really engage with. There's a name not just, hey, come here, or come here, boy, that kind of thing. I mean, we do that. That's what people are used to hearing. But call them by something different. That's not like
Absolutely.
everybody else. And they will see the value in that, because it shows that they have value to you, right?
Absolutely.
There's only one of you, and I'm acknowledging that by calling out your name. And so I think that's such an easy thing to do.
And I had a situation with a kid in that very manner. And I began, he would cut up all the time. So I throw chairs, try to fight staff. And I began to get with him, and I used to call him my buddy. I'm like, you my buddy, this is my power right here. And so what I began to do is give him confidence that when he go in the classroom, hey, nobody mess with him, this is my buddy. Because I'm cool with all y'all, but he's cool with me. So because he cool with me, y'all got to be cool with him. And I'm going to tell you the thing too. We got to learn how to learn them. Because another thing, like they language is different from ours.
Yes.
You got to know what stuff means.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, slang changed every 2 weeks.
Man, look.
It's like every 2 weeks I'm learning different slang vocabulary words to try to keep up with this generation. But I love it because I get to engage with them. I get to laugh with them. They get to see, okay, man, he ain't just this preacher that just preaching at us. He out here laughing, he joking with us and all type of stuff.
Right.
But you got to have a boundary, because they got to know there's a cutoff line.
Yeah.
So but you got to learn them too as well.
You got to learn them. I love that.
You got to learn them, because if not, you're not gonna reach them.
And I think another kind of a thing that I learned, and it's something I think we need to unlearn, is that young people can't teach you something.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, that's true.
What's something that you've learned from someone, a teenager, that you didn't expect to learn?
I learned a lot from teenagers I didn't expect to learn. Let me see. No, I would say this. I learned that I wasn't patient enough with them. Like, you want instant gratification and instant change. And I had to learn that they growing from natural immaturity and spiritual immaturity. So you got to be patient with them. And they just talk like, man, you just so aggressive. Like, you want everything right now. Like, we can't just, man, go through a process of our own. I'm sitting there like, dang, you right. Because somebody was patient with me. I had to learn. I had some hiccups in the road, and they weren't beating me over the head and saying, you ain't gonna be nothing, you ain't gonna do this, come on, what you doing? Like, no, they was patient. They was there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, you did this, but hey, we're gonna pick up these pieces. Let's walk you back through this way. And I had to learn that, because at first I was like, man, ain't nobody getting this. I know what I'm getting to work because I did it. But I had to learn patience. That, hey, man, you can't change everybody in no one sitting.
Man.
It takes time.
They taught you that. That's because you wouldn't think that a younger generation would teach you patience, because that's something that they are learn that is something they learn that
for real. They lack it, but they teaching you the very thing that you need to help them.
Man, but you know what? And I love that you said that, because young people will teach you how to work with them. They'll teach you.
They will.
How
they will
teach
give you
them.
the blueprint.
They will give it to you.
Right? I give you an example. My RTB kids, they own it like a hawk. They'll tell you, Paladin, listen, man, this ain't gonna work with us. We need you to do these things. We need you to help with these things. Like, when you ministering, add some illustration in there. When you talk, don't just be talking to us, we'll fall asleep. But if you have some props or something, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I need to do more illustration. But it's got to be able to say, okay, I'm hearing what they're saying, and this is what they need, versus, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this.
That's it.
No, you can't do that, because just think about it. I always say every 10 years, a generation change. So if you've been doing this for more than 10 years, you got to adapt.
Yeah.
You got to adapt. You can't stay the same. But the only thing that stays the same is the secret sauce.
That's right.
We ain't changing the secret sauce, which is Jesus and what we believe in. But the way we do things, the method and how we do it, you got to be able to adapt.
The message stays the same. The methods change.
The methods change.
Man, look, methods. I mean, 10 years, but shoot, you really got to be up on just about every year. At this point,
for real, you do. No, that's true.
You got to be on something different every year, because one thing that is very, very different about this generation is their exposure.
Oh my
Right,
goodness.
their exposure to all this stuff. And so to your
Yes.
point, like, you do have to, and I am certainly, I have to continue to remind myself of this and learn and keep growing in it myself. But the way you engage has to be as almost as what's the word I'm looking for? As quick as a reel. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're
They
consuming
used to.
over and over and over. And if you don't learn how to communicate like that, not just like to a group of kids, but even one-on-one, like learn how to do that well, then it's gonna, like, their brains are actually wired very differently because of the technology that they have.
Absolutely.
And we have to acknowledge that. And I think a lot of older people either want to, kind of dismiss it and just say, well, they should be like that, or just be like, well, whatever, they just go, like, just ignore it, like, I'm
No,
just
you
not even gonna
gotta
worry about it.
you
You
gotta
gotta
adapt.
engage it. You gotta
You got to.
adapt.
You
Yeah.
got to, because if not, you're gonna lose the generation because they ain't gonna
Yeah.
listen to you. Their attention span is not that long anymore.
And it's like 3 seconds.
You almost gotta train that to be that now. They
You
have to be
do.
on you for a while. They
But
get used
our
to it.
attention span ain't long.
It ain't.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
I like to say you gotta grab them and jack them real fast.
Yes.
So in the first 3 or 4 minutes, if you ain't hitting them with some hard punches, you're gonna lose them quick.
You'll lose them.
And I'm gonna say this. This is one of the things I have found out about this generation. They're hungry for truth.
Yes.
They are hungry to know about God.
Talk about
because we go to so many different neighborhoods across the city of Memphis to unsaved kids. These kids are not in church, they're in gangs, and they are hungry to find truth. They couldn't believe that people took time out their day, come to their schools to feed them, get them giveaways, and talk to them about Jesus. And we done had so many kids to have encounters with God at their school simply because they heard a simple 10 to 15-minute message. We ain't preaching all day long, but it was so quick, but it was so powerful because it was some geared strictly to them. And they are hungry for truth. And once they get it, they really want to know about it. We done had kids that want to be in discipleship groups. How do I go for God? How do I grow in God? I had a kid text me the other day, said, I want to live this life for real. I'm tired of doing these things. I really want God. And so it's about presenting who Jesus is to them and let them have their own encounter. It's one thing me telling you what to do. It's another thing when you encounter God for yourself.
That's
and
right.
Many kids, they feel God's presence. They begin to weep. I got so many pictures and videos I can show people of kids weeping that never been in church, never heard about God, about to get ready to kill themselves. We had a young lady that was getting ready to commit suicide that night who came and brought the pills and poured them out. We had another young man at the school that you named earlier that was getting ready to go murder a kid, brought the gun to the teacher and said, I don't want to do this no more. My life just got changed. So they hungry for these things. They want God, but they want what's real. We got to give them real. We got to teach them how to live, and we got to teach them how to navigate because, again, you said exposure to a lot of things. You got to have more conversation earlier with kids now than you used to back in the day.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like I'm talking about even in elementary, like my son, 7, 8, I'm teaching him about what is a man, what is a woman. Why should I even be teaching a 7-year-old that? But that's the time that we're living in.
That's what we're in. Yeah.
So you got to have a conversation with them early. And I believe one part of it is the church. We shy away from those things. We don't talk about those things with this generation. It almost, we let them be and hopefully they come out of it. No, we dealing with it head on. Like we did a series with our kid called Nation of Lies. How the enemy lied to you at a young age to get you to believe these different things. This is how you were made. This is how I am. But no, God said you this. This is the truth. This is your reality. But we having those conversations about homosexuality. We having those situations about trauma, and we having those situations about mental health issues with our young people to help them understand, one, how God sees them and how he designed for them to be, and then help walk them out of it, because we got some kids that's in it. And so we not beating them over the head, but we teaching them how they can walk out of it. And I always tell kids this: I'd rather for you to struggle than to lay down in it. Because when you laid out and you didn't gave up, at least when you're struggling, you fighting.
That's it.
And so as you fight, long as you fighting, I can help you.
That's
long
good.
as you fight, I'm willing to walk with you.
Yeah.
And I remember another thing that a kid showed me is that I had to stop caring about my own reputation. So what if it's a young man that's bound in homosexuality, dressed like a female, but God called you to walk with them.
Mm.
Are you gonna worry about what people saying because you at lunch with this young man trying to help them and he dressed like
Wow.
a female?
Man, that's
So
good,
I
Deon.
had to learn about, man, it's not about me, it's about me helping this kid come out of this deception and bondage, because it's bondage at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that in their lifestyle, they're not in it because they wanted to be.
Yeah.
A lot of them was either deceived, tricked, or something was done to them that made them go that way. Nobody woke up and just say, "Oh, I'm finna be this today." No, something happened to them. It was an experience. So we have to walk with them, do life with them, and we have to have real conversations earlier than normal. And we can't shy away from that as the church.
You said something, truth. You know, I think a lot of young people live in a very filtered world.
Mm-hmm.
And a very a world that is curated, right, for their own, like you have the ability to live your own reality.
Yep.
And you can kind of get stuck in that, and that's it's very easy. Somebody was telling me the other day, oh, I'm gonna butcher it, but I don't remember what it's called, but basically it's these videos of these like fake boyfriend or girlfriend, like, on that just talk to you like they're your relationship with them. And you can, on YouTube, you can follow these accounts, and people are it simulates as if we're dating. And
Really? I ain't never heard that.
when I tell you, I cannot remember exactly what it's called, but she was telling me about it the other day. So she's 18, and I was just asking her about, just, is this thing, like this AI virtual relationship thing? She was like, it's a thing. Like, and I said, really?
Really?
She said, yes. Like, she's got friends who have dibbled and dabbled in that. And it's like, so this idea of like, I get to curate my own reality. You lose sight of what's true. And I believe
That's exactly right.
there is a difference between reality and truth. Reality changes, truth doesn't. And so your reality can be what I want it to be today. I can make that happen. And so I think one of the things that is important for adults to unlearn about this generation is that they don't want truth. They crave
They absolutely do.
They crave it, because everything that's being presented to them is based on what they want. And so who's not going to take that, right? But at the end of the day, because you don't have truth, there's no grounding, there's no stability, there's no foundation. And so everything you want, all it does, it's not filling you up. Because you have nothing to hold. There's nothing solid for it to land on. So you get what you want, it passes through you, and you just stay empty. It doesn't fill you at all. And after a while, you begin to realize that you're empty. And so when somebody comes and gives you meat when all you've had was chips, that ain't really nothing. All it is half the bag is air anyway, and you really ain't getting full, right? But somebody comes and gives you meat, and you're like, dang, this is different. I like meat. I want more of that. They want truth. And so we got to be prepared to give them truth and not shy away from it. I love that's so it's real, and truth is not complicated.
It's simple.
It's simple, right? I mean, one of the things that adults, I think, have to even unlearn in general is that if it's complicated, it's probably a lie. Complication, it's like complicated. If things are ultra complex, if you don't have a way of understanding it, there's something in it that's muddy, right? Truth is clear. There's no, it's black or white. It's just what it is. And I'm not suggesting that everything is black and white. There's plenty of gray that we got to deal with, but there's some stuff that ain't gray.
Exactly.
Right?
It's black and white.
And we just need, and young people, I think, need to be exposed to that. To your point, we need to expose young people to truth and not allow them to define it. This idea of relative, subjectivity and relativity, and all that. That's BS, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's not, it's not true. And so I think, like, we have to debunk that, and we have to point them. I remember there was this a few years ago. A lot of young people are very Jesus plus, right? Jesus plus crystals, Jesus plus, you know, ancestors, Jesus plus, whatever, right? Jesus, all this other stuff. And so I was talking to a couple of teenagers, and we were having conversations. And God bless it, one young lady who goes to church. She went to church, and I've taken her to church, seen her in church, know the church she was a part of. And she said, "Yeah, she said, I believe in fairies." Now, this is serious. This is real.
Right.
And this young lady said, I said, "Fairy?" She said, "Yeah, and I'm a fairy." I said, "You're a fairy." And I had to do it was everything in me to keep a straight face. But I was like, all right, this is an opportunity. Let's just, like you said, let's ask questions.
Yep.
So how do you know you're a fairy? Like, and
Right.
she said, you know, something about a bunch of plants around her house. She was like, if you have a bunch of plants around. So I said, how do you know you're a fairy and I'm not a fairy? Like, what? And so I'm just, it sounds ridiculous, but we just were asking, and I'm asking questions. And I said, can I, then I asked her this. I said, where did you get it from? You know what she told me?
What'd you say?
Google.
Wow.
Instagram. And I said, okay. I said, now, can I be honest with you? And then I said, can I share with you what I think? And then I started to share with her who Jesus is and where I get that from.
Come on.
And why it is reliable. I said, so just talking about the source. Yeah. Where are you getting this stuff from? Right?
Exactly.
And helping young people to understand a lot of the sources that you're getting what you call truth from are unreliable. It haven't been tested or tried. It hadn't even been around. It hasn't even been around long enough to even matter. Like, yeah. And so, you know, you have to figure out where you get stuff from, and a lot of them don't know where to get it from. So but that they're being fed this stuff that people are making up. And so anyway, I think that's so crucial, man. I'm so glad you brought that up. As far as truth is concerned, we've got to unlearn that they don't want that. They want it, and they want it clear and in simple terms. It doesn't need to be flashy.
It's got to be obtainable,
right? You don't need to have no bells and whistles on it. They just want it because they get the bells and whistles on their phone. They don't need all that.
Exactly.
Just tell them what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so gosh, it breaks my heart to see young people believe certain things and then not know where they got it from, but it becomes a part of their philosophy and they hold on to it.
Yeah, but just think about it. It's an agenda from hell that the enemy have used to get young people entangled early. You know, you got kids that believe in crystals, Ouija boards, and don't even understand that the origin that come from the money. You know, so it's so many different layers to it, and that's why it's important that when you dealing with young people and you talking about unlearning, you got to unlearn all of the lies and the deceptions that you have formed as truth in your mind, and be like, listen, I got to unlearn this stuff. That's and it. I need to really learn what truth is.
Yes.
And you only can get truth from Jesus. He's the way, the truth, and the life.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm telling you, I have seen so many young people that have given their hearts to Jesus, that have turned their life around, all because they found truth. Yeah. Not because we did anything special, but because the thing we do, we just teach them how to cultivate a relationship with God, and now you get to do that on your own. And we're going to be here to help you with questions. We're going to be here to help you, to tell you how to live, how you conduct yourself. But ultimately, it comes down to your personal relationship with God and your hunger for truth. See, just like people hungry for lies, you got to be hungry for truth.
Man,
to find truth at the same time. But once you get it, it's a freedom that comes with it. You don't get in bondage with truth. It's a freedom. It's a peace. I can't tell you how many kids say, I just feel this peace. I can't explain it. I go to the scripture where the Bible says that God will give you peace that passes all understanding.
Yes.
So you just tried this scripture and you can say that it works.
It's true.
This is real. It happened to you.
Yes.
So you know the Bible now a lot because it's happening to you. And so it's things like that that's just priceless, that you get to see kids like, man, this is true. This can happen to me. But again, it takes somebody that's willing to go in the trenches where they have to go get them. We got to be willing to go in there and get them.
Man, all right, so this has been good, Deon. As we wrap up, can you just give a word of encouragement to adults out there who are not very hopeful about this generation, who see more bad than good, don't really know, how to engage, and just try to, give them a little encouragement from your perspective as somebody who works with teenagers every single day, and particularly encouragement to people who are raising teenagers because
Oh yeah, it's rough.
it's rough, man. It's rough. So just talk to them and encourage them, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, one, I would say, number one, don't give up on this generation, because God have so much to do with their generation, and He loves them. And I always, like I said earlier, find your gift and your talents is something that you can pour back into them, and begin to just appreciate the little things that they would get from you, the conversations, them even willing to be around you for an hour or two. Begin to find the hope in that. And then begin to ask God, what do you want to give them? And let God use you in giving something to them that can change their life forever. And then also, don't be fooled by what you see on the news.
Yeah,
Don't be fooled by what the media put out there. Memphis is still one of the best cities in the world.
for sure.
And I believe that it's so many good things happening with this generation. It just don't get televised. It
Yeah.
don't get broadcast. So it's still hope that great things are happening. It's plenty of young people that are doing phenomenal things in this city and in this world. And so just lean your hope on that, and then find out what can you do to what legacy will you leave behind for the next generation when they think about your name, when they think about the things that you gave them. Like I think about back in my day, you had your neighbors who would give you different things, different nuggets that stuck with you forever. I mean, I remember Mr. Willie would let us come and pick oranges, and he would tell us these different stories. It's things like that that might shape a kid mind that would say, okay, listen, I ain't finna go down there. I'm gonna listen to what Mr. Willie said, because Mr. Willie told me this story about him.
Yeah.
So it's different things you can give them. You might not be able to physically give them anything, but you might be able to have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of wisdom, a wealth of experience and encounters that you had, mistakes that you did, that you learned from, that you can give to them. So stay encouraged. And then I'm gonna say this too: they're fun to be around. It keeps you young.
They does,
Like
man.
they gonna keep you laughing, because they gonna say some off the wall stuff.
Yep.
But it's almost refreshing though to be around them too. Like they come with their problems. Don't get me wrong. But it's refreshing, man, just to be around them, just to laugh with them.
Yeah.
Because it might be that one kid that was cutting up that you see laughing and smiling, and they helping, and they doing exactly what you've been teaching them the last month or two. And you be thinking like, man, I thought they weren't even paying attention. But this whole time they've been watching you.
Yes.
Because you've been real to them. And they've been watching you. They've been studying you. Like that's one of the things I would say when I was a kid. I remember telling Apostle Wade, I said, man, you just too perfect. You just, I can't do that. And he said, and it stuck with me. And now I say it to kids. I said, no, I'm not perfect. You just would never see me mess up. But what is he saying? He's saying, I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause you to stumble to where you don't want to do nothing with God. You don't want to do nothing with my life. But I do make mistakes, and I'm willing to show you my scars.
Yeah.
I'm willing to show you the mistakes that I made, but I'm not going to make mistakes in front of you. They're going to cause you to trip to where you don't want to be a part of what God is doing and what I'm doing in your life. Man, so stay encouraged, stay hopeful. Man, love on these young people. If you got a relationship with them, if you don't got a relationship with them, find out how to get one. Go to the school, volunteer, talk about sports. Just start with stuff that y'all have commonality in that you can talk about with them and build a rapport with them, and then from there begin to change their life.
Man, Deon, thanks for coming, man.
Man, I appreciate you for having me.
Man, this is good, man. I hope y'all gained something from Deon's wisdom, man, and from this conversation. Let's keep doing our due diligence to understand people that are younger than us. They need you. They need you. This generation needs you. All right, y'all. Well, that's it.
Can I say one more thing before we leave?
No, come on, man. Go ahead.
Before we go, if there's anybody listening to this and you don't know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, I want to give you an opportunity right now, tomorrow, and I promise. Just say these words. Say, Father, forgive me for sinning against you. I am a sinner. I'm in need of a Savior. I confess Jesus as my Lord and my Savior. Write my name in your Lamb's Book of Life. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I can't go without doing that. I'm sorry. You know me, I'm a preacher. Y'all know that.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's good, Deon. Somebody got to do it on here.
Hey, somebody
Somebody
got to
got to
do
do
it.
it.
Somebody got to do it.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll see y'all next week. But until then, oh, wait, I always forget to do this. I'm so bad at this. Hey, like, share, and subscribe
Yep.
to the UnLearnT podcast. We want you to be a part of this community and be a part of the unlearning process. It's going to help you to grow, and it's going to help you to be more free. And so that's what we're all about, y'all. We're all about freedom, and that's going to take a mindset shift. And so that's what we want for everybody. So make sure if freedom, man. So if this episode was of any value to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Let somebody else see it. All right, y'all. That is it. Let's keep unlearning together so that we can experience more freedom. And until then, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.